So yeah, I've been fighting with myself, or I don't know if it's the fact that I'm such a good guy, and I know that this, at least this apartment building, I'm not sure about the entire property, is most definitely haunted. Known that for years. Kind of forgot about it for a while. Got a bit sidetracked by delirious delusions until a couple of months ago. I talk about it in a couple earlier episodes. I think I did tell a story about the paper floating. It was from that moment that I was, I did something really noble and heroic that I think most people, at least in this building, should probably at least try to thank me for or something. I have come to realize that I may be possessed, or, at the early stages of something like this. So I've been seeing flies around. About a year ago, I saw a bunch of flies in my car doing deliveries in the middle of the night. Like that scene in Scary Movie 3 when the priest is taking a shit and there's flies everywhere. They all start swarming him. The Exorcist. Fuck my. And they just start puking all over each other. Not quite at that stage, but it seems, they haven't really thanked me or anything. I don't blame them. They probably thought that the spirits left the building once the black people moved in a few months ago. But no, I invited the spirit into my house. And something in the back of my mind said, just do it, Hayden. You're drunk. Who cares? Don't show fear. Never show fear. Not to a dumb ghost. They latch onto fear. They latch onto it. They feed off of it. That's why they like fucking with children so much. It's really sickening. But I noticed, I'm like, man, that's the thing. I've come to realize that I've been doing this entire fourplex a service. Everybody in the apartment complex, the 4 apartments, well, 3, because one of them's vacant now. Because I said, come on in, spirit, after the spirit was already in my apartment, fucking with the stack of papers. I'm like, hey, come on in now. Like, you're already not in. That might have been, I don't even really think I noticed anything for such a long time. But that's the thing. A lot of the shit that's been going on in my life was possibly because of that. Could have been fucking with the whole purgatory vibe, which we're gonna touch on right now. We're gonna do another purgatory episode. Because I want to. Because it's what it is. Why else would I see heaven, God, and the light when I'm not dying? Can anybody else explain that? I can't. And And some people don't even know what purgatory is. And maybe that's, whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. No, you know what? No, I'm not going to do purgatory. I want to do the school because the first school shooting episode with the government is really, it's a shit show. It's a really shitty episode. It's terrible. At least, I hope to God that's the way I recorded it and not some scrambled up mess of an episode where bits and pieces are taken from one episode and moved to another. Because it seemed, I mean, maybe I must be mistaking the lottery story episode because that was really good. One of the best pieces of content you'll ever find on the internet ever. The episode where I just talk about the lottery the whole time, or the last 40 minutes or so. So no, we're doing the school shootings, which, imagine that, have ramped up since school started. Which is really not okay in my opinion. It's really not okay to be not utilizing one of the bills and laws that the government passed in terms of AR-15 magazine, like how much you can hold. If you're going to be, at least go to the neighboring state where you can have 30 in a round. That's why they passed the law, dummies. So people could have more bullets in their rifle, their ammo cartridge. Why would they not do that? You need to have 30 bullets, not 10. You get mad at me? You get mad at me? What'd I do? Matt, yeah, this is the kind of shit I don't even like looking up, to be honest, but yeah, mass shootings in America, really, really lighthearted stuff. But basically, I'm just gonna mention this right away. This is my theory on all this, because I don't think I find that the internet becoming popularized and modernized at the same time as mass shootings, pretty much. They're both trendy at around the same time period. It's a little odd and suspicious, if you ask me. Why would that be the case? Because, I mean, before what was it? What was that shit in Texas or Oklahoma where those two? It was like one of the first one, Parkland or some shit like that. I don't even know. It was one of the first like school shootings back in the late 90s, early 2000s, right when the internet is becoming popularized. And I've come to a few more discoveries since then in terms of, yeah, you don't even, I mean, yeah, my mind is fucking scrambled. I'm just trying to put out an episode where if I'm right, I'm right, and hopefully word gets out that the government is possibly behind this because if they're, I mean, that's the idea, right? That China is going to be better, and we need to, for some reason, adopt China's communist um, um, regime pushes in terms of, and I'm not very well versed in I haven't done much research, but clearly, I don't, I don't. God, it just irks the shit out of me that it's like only white like white kids and white teenagers, white males doing the shootings. I don't know why. Why else would that be? Same with the cancel culture for comedians. It's a little bit different with rappers and literally them admitting, like rapping about murdering somebody that actually got murdered. It's like you're kind of a fucking retard for doing that. But that's a little bit different because they're literally admitting to like, you know, a crime on a song. Comedians' jobs is to literally talk about shit that is not true. Because that's why it's a jokey joke. It's a funny. This is, yeah, Jesus, man. Alabama mass shooting, 4 dead and 18 hurt. Hey, they offer a $50,000 reward, though. That's nice. That's what 4 dead people are worth and 18 hurt. $50,000. Dude, they'd have a bounty on your head in Red Dead Redemption for the same, like, for more money. But you know, if the government can keep track of these things, which I don't know why they wouldn't be able to, and they were planning on instilling communism, which is, it's kind of obvious. I mean, why would they not be? Unfortunately. Why would cancel culture be a thing? Canceling comedians for saying a fucking bad word, a naughty word on the naughty list. In a country that was founded on free speech. Now, some of these comedians are able to actually uh, reverse this on cancel culture and woke culture, and actually become more popular from it by pointing out the hypocrisy in it. Because yeah, like, I'm not saying you fucking throwing out you know, nigger this, nigger that, because obviously the term is from what it's founded on in terms of the way it was used back in the day when slavery was a lot more trendy than mass shootings. It was basically used as a, like, to refer to black people as not humans, which is disgusting. But just using the term to refer, like, to not be able to even like type it in a fucking tweet is so absurd. But why did I bring that up? I don't know. Why are there no black kids shooting up schools? This is like the big thing. Why are there no black people doing mass shootings at schools and other places? There have been 23 mass shootings in 2024. I feel like You mean this school year? I feel like I see one every day on the news. Oh, nice. This is a nice, really cool website. National Institute of Justice. Public mass shootings. Database amasses details of a half century of U.S. mass shootings with firearms, generating psychosocial histories. This is going to be a good read. So this was February 3rd, 2022. Persons who committed public mass shootings in the U.S. over the last half century were commonly troubled by personal trauma before their shooting incidents. Nearly always in a state of crisis at the time, and in most cases engaged in leaking their plans before opening fire. Jesus. Most were insiders of a targeted institution, such as an employee or a student. What? Except for young school shooters who stole the guns from family members, most used legally obtained handguns in those shootings. Those are prominent traits of persons who have engaged in public mass shootings, that is, a shooting that kills 4 or more people. Collected in a. That's. Why is that considered a mass shooting? 4 or more people. Collected in a comprehensive new database of identified U.S. mass shootings from 1966 to 2019. Dude, there's no way that they've been going on for that long. They probably added like, it's probably 1999 is when you should like really, my birth year. I don't think there was many mass shootings before that. Because literally, yeah, whatever. What do I know? The data on 172 mass public shooters cover more than 150 psychosocial history variables, such as those individuals' mental health history, past trauma, interest in past shootings, what? And situational triggers. Interest in past shootings. How would you even be able to know if somebody is interested in a past shooting in 1970? There weren't any. No, what I think is some psychosocial history variables, such as, I would say it's the individual's mental health history, yes, prescription medication, which is combined with that, ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder, which is mostly diagnosed in children and young adults who do not respond well to authority figures, and literally, they'd probably have a school record of that in terms of detentions, in-school suspensions, out-of-school suspensions, expulsions, arguing with teachers and or classmates, which classmates aren't really authority figures, but, things like that. As well as trouble with the law in terms of drug use or stealing, theft, fucked up shit like torturing animals or anything like that. What else? Maybe even going to inpatient treatment, outpatient treatment, jail, juvie, things like that. But that would be tied in with the criminal record. What else? Oh, there was another big one on there that I can't remember right now. Let me think. Definitely, I mean, I don't think interest in past shootings is really on top of the list in terms of variables. I think that, I mean, ODD is also, I mean, it's considered a mental illness, technically. It's in the DSM-5. So technically that would be included with the mental health history, but you can't really, they don't prescribe medication for ODD. It's just, like therapy is your fucking prescription. And then let me think. Um, there's another big one on there. Oh yeah, their parents have firearms. The government would be able to keep track of all these things. And number 7, just forgot it, which I don't really do things like that. Hayden Meyer doesn't forget things like that. Um, let's think. I just had it. I was just thinking about it. I don't forget things that I was just thinking about, especially when I'm not stoned. Um, let's think here. Trying to really decipher what is going on in terms of my thought process and memory when it comes to uh, remembering things that I was just thinking about and had on the tip of my noggin. I'll just continue reading the article. With support from the National Institute of Justice, the Violence Project database has drawn data exclusively from open sources such as social media sites and online newspapers. The aim is to build a broader understanding on the part of the public, the justice system, and the research community of who mass shooters are and what motivates their decisions to discharge firearms at multiple people. Maybe they're hallucinating and they think they're hunting. As As part of the project, researchers also separately interviewed persons in prison who had engaged in mass shootings, in part to look for shared traits. A troubling upward trend, yeah, I'd say. The research examined an era of marked increase in the number of deadly effect of mass shootings in the United States. To summarize that trend, the project spanned mass shootings over more than 50 years, yet 20% of the 167 mass shootings in that period occurred in the last 5 years of the study period. That's really nice. More than half occurred after 2000, of which 33% occurred after 2010. The years with the highest number of mass shootings were 2018 with 9 and K. Oh, that's, yeah. They consider a mass shooting 4 deaths. So you got to have good aim to be considered a mass shooter. 2018 with 9 and 1999 and 2017 each with 7. What? 16 of the 20 deadliest mass shootings in modern history, i.e., from 1966 to 2019, occurred between 1999 and 2019, and 8 of those 16 occurred between 2014 and 2019. The death toll has risen sharply, particularly in the last decade. In the 1970s, mass shootings claimed an average of 8 lives per year. From 2010 to 2019, the end of the study period, the average was up to 51 deaths per year. Wait, what? The death toll has risen sharply, particularly in the last decade. In the 1970s, mass shootings claimed an average of 8 lives per year. I don't even think there were any mass shootings back then. That was when everybody was just like getting high on weed and doing acid for the first time. Have you never seen that 70s show? This is where I begin to question the authenticity of some of these articles, even on this website, nij.ojp.gov. Oh, fucking A. Never mind. It's an official website of the United States government, Department of Justice. What the fuck am I talking about? The study design. The research adopted a mixed method approach combining objective or readily quantified data to populate the database and the interviews of the small sample of persons in prison who had committed mass shootings. The database, as well as a detailed study methodology, and research codebook, are available at www.theviolenceproject.org. Jesus, pick a better name. Mass shooting cases were identified using several sources, including all existing mass shootings databases, with close examination of each case. Researchers also reviewed source lists of mass shootings from new outlets. Shooters' first person accounts were scrutinized, and secondary sources such as documentary films, biographies. People love the documentary films. Yeah, you make a documentary film and people eat that shit up for some reason. You can't look at a fucking word on a screen. Newspaper archives, for example, were mined for a variety of relevant mass shooting data points. In all, the research team coded more than 160 variables for database inclusion. Examples of variable ranges include demographics, family background, breakups, and employment trouble. Telling others about one's plans to kill ahead of time, known as leakage, and firearms use, including whether weapons were purchased legally or illegally, or stolen. The database includes tabs on more than 370 firearms used in mass shootings and 1,239 people who lost their lives to those weapons, plus 2,020 of those injured. This project followed a research methodology. We're going to look up that word. Yeah. Dictionary. Methodology. A system of methods used in a particular area of study or activity. What the hell? Huh. Metalogic. What the fuck? Did Mark Zuckerberg hack my computer? Jeff Bezos told him to do it? Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me. Sorry, Jeff. I told you I would pay you back the $50 of Amazon products that I stole while doing Amazon deliveries. And Jeffrey needed it. He wasn't cool with that, so I had to pay him back. It was a couple of $100 bones. What do you want from me, man? I know you don't get. He only gets paid bi-weekly. Sorry, Jeffrey. All right. There were a couple of packages that were put on my delivery route that didn't have a home. So I took them. And you needed to buy cigarettes and cocaine. And you needed to borrow money because you didn't get paid till Friday. So my bad, bro. Wait, what? This project followed a research methodology that has proven effective in terrorism studies, which also are rare events that can result in mass casualties. Yeah, what about the 9/11 thing, where our government was literally training Middle Eastern men to be able, they train them to be able to fly a 737. That's a fact. They were training them to fly the plane because they didn't want them to not crash into the building. Oh, yeah. Alex Jones and Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo talk all about it on their shitty, unpopular podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. Other key findings and applicability: trauma, suicidality, and crisis. Suicidality was found to be a strong predictor of perpetration of mass shootings. Of all mass shooters in the Violence Project database, 30% were suicidal prior to the shooting. An additional 39% were suicidal during the shooting. Tower 7, too. This is how you know it was an inside job. Tower 7 is a building that collapsed exactly like the. Did both Twin Towers collapse like a controlled demolition? Which not scientists, but like experts in the field of melting steel with jet fuel and flames said that there's no way that the temperature that would be able to melt steel would even be possibly reached in terms of a plane crashing into the towers. You need more of a controlled flame in order to get the heat. Like the heat level, the temperature level that is even possibly able to melt steel, unless there was thermite already pre-built into the steel beams of the Twin Towers, which is, I don't know if it's proven or not, but that's what is talked about in terms of that conspiracy. I don't even know if it's a conspiracy at this point. Pretty sure it's a fact. Because blocks away, Tower 7, another government, I don't know if it was a government building. I think it was a government building that had a bunch of documents and paperwork. blocks and blocks away. Had no plane crash. There was nothing even close to that building at all in terms of any plane crashing, any plane debris, any building debris. It was too far away. But Tower 7 collapsed exactly like the Twin Towers, like a controlled demolition does. Not where the building tips over, like if you're cutting down a tree, but level by level. Which there would have to be enough weight for that to be possible in terms of melting the steel beams to be able to not, yeah, whatever. You know, it's a real fun thing to talk about the government being behind that and school shootings possibly in the same fucking episode. But the fact that Tower 7 collapsed like a controlled demolition, much like the Twin Towers, which, you know, Alex Jones talks a lot about it. He's an expert in the field of melting steel beams. Thought I had a burp coming. And there's no footage of the plane, the other plane that crashed into the Pentagon at the same exact time. Which is really, makes a lot of sense, right? They wouldn't have any cameras at the Pentagon. I'm sure it's a coincidence that they passed all these insanely restrictive laws and regulations at every single airport in the country afterwards. Now, why would they do that? I don't know. Go listen to Alex Jones talk about it. And Eddie Bravo. Those two wise guys. If they even have those episodes up anymore. I know they took a couple of them down. YouTube. I wonder why. Probably because they didn't want Eddie, Joe, and Alex saying the word chink. Suicidality was found to be a strong predictor. Oh, I already read that part. Of all mass shooters in the Violence Project database, 30% were suicidal prior to the shooting. Jeez. Just blow your own brains out. An additional 39% were suicidal during the shooting. What? So 30% were suicidal prior, and then an extra 9% were suicidal during the shooting. Yeah, no shit. You think it'd be 100%. You'd hope it would be. Those numbers were significantly higher for younger shooters, with K through 12 students who engaged in mass shootings found to be suicidal in 92% of instances, and college university students who engaged in mass shootings suicidal 100% of the time. What? In terms of past trauma, 31% of persons who perpetrated mass shootings were found to have experiences of severe childhood trauma, and over 80% were in crisis. What is the difference there? Crisis. Let's look that one up in the dictionary. A time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. They're in danger? What? They're in danger. No, it makes sense, yeah. Why else would they bring a gun to school? Trauma was a common element of the backgrounds of those committing mass shootings, both in the database and the qualitative studies. Early intervention through school-based services may be a key component of early prevention. School-based services. Intervention. Early prevention. How or why? Early intervention through school-based services. What, like chess club? Crisis/mental illness. In public discourse, mass shootings are often blamed on mental illness, but the research indicates the role of mental illness in mass shootings is complicated, not clear-cut. Mental health issues were common among those who engaged in mass shootings, with psychosis playing a minor role in nearly 1/3 of the cases, but a primary role in 10% of the time. I thought psychosis was almost like extremely rare in children, because schizophrenia is even more rare in children, and psychosis is what leads to schizophrenia for the most of the time. A severe mental disorder in which thought and emotions are so impaired that contact is lost with external reality. Huh. Oh, Psychosis is an album. November 17th, 2017. Studio album. Well, I'll be damned. Cavalera Conspiracy. I haven't even I'll have to give it a listen. What? Jeez. Music. What the fuck? Oh, it's also a film. So they have an album and a film. Based off of Psychosis. That's good. Where was I? Something about mental illness or something. The data indicate, however, that nearly all persons who engage in mass shootings were in a state of crisis in the days or weeks preceding the shooting. Yeah, imagine the fucking children getting shot at. This warning signs, leakage. Like my brain. Nearly half of individuals who engage in mass shootings, 48%, leaked their plans in advance to others, including family members. You know what that means? That means they really didn't want to do it. Or they were hoping somebody would, like, say something or possibly stop them. That's how it kind of is with suicide people as well. Somebody who really wants to kill themselves isn't going to tell people. Just an FYI for all of you out there. If somebody says they're suicidal, they're hoping I'm not saying that every single one is not actually serious about doing it, but usually that means like if they're gonna be suicidal, they're not gonna like tell people because that would stop them from getting their mission accomplished. Including family members, friends, and colleagues, as well as strangers and law enforcement officers. Never kill yourself. Just don't do it. The Bible says don't do it. I'm being dead ass serious. Don't. If you can listen to all of this podcast and be like, how is this motherfucker not killed himself yet? Because Jesus told me not to. It'd be worth it. So jot that one down in your notes. Legacy tokens, such as manifestos, were left behind by 23.4% of those who committed mass shootings. About 70% of individuals who perpetuated mass shootings knew at least some of their victims. God. It's really kind of gross. I hope I'm not correct about any of my theories in terms of the shootings. In particular, K through 12 school and workplace shooters were insiders, quote unquote, current or former students and employees. That finding has implications for physical security measures and the use of active shooter drills. Oh yeah, when I was working at MPHA, Minneapolis Public Housing Authority, we had to spend like an entire afternoon all about what to do when a shooter shows up. Like who the fuck is gonna shoot up any like public housing? And you know what's funny? The community room at the main building where they have the parking garage, that's where they had a shooting. I mean, at least that's what I was told. I don't even know if I believe it. I feel like it might have been a joke. Because I feel like some of the, it's all glass windows. You would have seen like some like repair being done. I would have, at least in terms of maintenance on the property. The fact that leakage is a common occurrence with mass shootings provides an opportunity for intervention. Yeah. They're saying, please don't let me go shoot the fucking people who I think are bullying me. It's not what I want to do. I mean, of course it's not. I just can't. I don't understand. I don't understand. Why? I can't even imagine as like. It just feels so outlandish for this to be just occurring without some like reasoning or some instigation in terms of why it's white young males for the most case doing this. When clearly, I mean, no, don't take this the wrong way, but it's probably easier for the black kids to get a hold of their parents' firearms. And with the way some of these like preppy schools like treat, because in some of these like really white schools like Andover, there's not very many black people. But there was never any fucking mistreatment of any of the black people that I saw in school. So I'm probably wrong about that. That's just like real, like watching movies. Sometimes I'd be like, this doesn't happen in school. Like when the fucking, like Radio. I haven't watched that movie in a long time, but even as a kid, I felt really bad for that dude. Isn't he just a black retard trying to play football? Let him put the pads on. Toss the pigskin around. But I'm even watching that movie. I'm like, is this how how white people are to black people in like high school? As like an elementary school kid, I don't know why I was watching that movie as like a fucking fourth grader. It's a really sad movie. Radio. Radio. No, not the technology of signaling and communicating using radio waves. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the movie Radio Shack. Gee, Radio Margaritaville. That's what it is. Yeah, 2003. Really, really, really uplifting film. There has to be like a moral to the movie, like a moral story to the movie that I'm not quite grasping or remembering at the time, like right now. But because from my memory, it was depressing as fuck. Set in 1976. Well, that explains it. PG. Hmm. Real life Coach Jones befriends mentally disabled black student Radio. Turns out at the end of the movie, they weren't making fun of him because he was mentally disabled, but because his name was just Radio. They then form a friendship and bond over the football season. Though things take a turn for the worse when certain fans and parents feel that Radio is a distraction and is getting in the way of the team succeeding. I'm talking about the movie Radio. Back to the leakage. Um, Anonymous reporting systems may increase the likelihood of leakage and is an important area from our research. Threat assessment teams that intervene with holistic, collaborative approach to interventions are promising. What? I feel like the internet is sometimes like, let's just throw these couple of sentences together that make no sense and see if Hayden even realizes it or if he's zoning out completely. Holistic definition. characterized by the belief that the parts of something are interconnected and can be explained only by reference to the whole. Okay, I thought it was like a holistic, like holy. So no, it's not specific to spiritual or holy beliefs. Huh. Well, that's good. Alternative medicine. Now, this is why I kind of like this little dictionary thing. Hmm. Ionized jewelry is a fringe medicine in science. So is oil pulling. What else do we have in that category? Vaginal steaming. That's all you need to know. Which I don't even think I want to know what that is. Well, actually, I do know. Firearms. Notably, most individuals who engage in mass shootings use handguns, 77.2%, and 25.1% use assault rifles in the commission of their crimes. Of the known mass shooting cases, what? 32.5% of cases could not be confirmed. 77% of those who engaged in mass shootings purchased at least some of their guns legally, while illegal purchases were made by 13% of those committing mass shootings. In cases involving K through 12 school shootings, over 80% of individuals who engaged in shootings stole guns from family members. The findings support safe storage of guns, yet the researchers noted that there are no federal laws requiring safe storage of guns and no federal standards for firearm locks. The data also support red flag laws permitting law enforcement or family members to petition a state court to order temporary removal of a firearm from a person who presents a danger. Motivation over time. Since the 1970s, the only statistically significant change in motivations for mass shootings is the decrease in shootings motivated by employment issues. Script. What? The data show that many individuals who engage in mass shootings study past mass shooters, 1 in 5. Well, an extra 21.6%. So that's an extra 1.6% of 1 in 5, which would be 20. Studied other mass shooters, and many are radicalized online. The researchers recommended media literacy education as a means of helping people critically consume information and counter extremist propaganda that facilitates violence. We're almost done with this article. I know it's taking a while because I'm in and out, back and forth about certain things. If you don't like it, don't listen. Mass shooting demographics. Of the 172 individuals who engage in public mass shootings covered in the database, 97.7% were male. Yeah, wow. Why is that? When women are much more emotional. Ages ranged from 11 to 70 with a mean age of 31 or 34.1. Those shooting were 52.3% white, 20.9% black, 8.1% Latino, 6.4% Asian, 4.2% Middle Eastern, and 1.8% Native American. I think the Middle Eastern would be a little bit higher up there. But they have a different technique. Most individuals who perpetrated mass shootings had a prior criminal record. 64.5%, and a history of violence, 62.8%. I mean, I kind of touch on violence and, uh, the reasoning. I guess it kind of just ties in. I guess I don't really imagine many kids being that violent. Kids these days. Including domestic violence, 27.9%, and 28.5% had a military background. Most died on the scene of the public mass shooting, with 38.4% dying by their own hand and 20.3% killed by law enforcement officers. So, what? 41.3% are dying by some other force that is not by themselves or the law enforcement officers. So who would be killing them instead? One of the students somehow? One of the teachers? A rent-a-cop? A sentry turret? Locations of mass shootings. Locations of public mass shootings by percentage of all occurrences in the database were 30.8% in the workplace. What does that even mean? The workplace. Technically, the school is a workplace for teachers. 16.9% retail establishment. What? So like a Kmart. 13.4% a bar or a restaurant. 8.1% residential location. 8.1% outdoors. 7.6% K through 12 school. Jesus. This can't be right. Technically, the school is a workplace, no? .4% place of worship. If you're shooting up people like praying, there's a special place in hell for you. 5.2% college or university. If you're shooting children, there's a special place. I mean, if you're shooting anybody, shoot up instead. Not your school. Heroin. .5% government or place of civic importance. Interviews. The research team cautioned that the qualitative data from 5 interviews did not lend themselves to generalization because each individual story is unique. Of course. They can't generalize the mass shooters like that. There was no generalization, if anybody doesn't know what that means. Let me just tell you. A generalization is a general statement or concept obtained by inference from specific cases. The action of generalizing. That's really helpful. I love when they use the term, just word it like spelled differently as the definition. The action of generalizing is what generalization means. What? A generalization is a form of abstraction whereby common properties of specific instances are formulated as general concepts or claims. Generalizations posit the existence of a domain or set of elements as well as one or more common characteristics shared by those elements, thus creating a conceptual model. As such, they are essential basis of all valid deductive inferences, particularly in logic, mathematics, and science, where the process of verification is necessary to determine whether a generalization holds true for any given situation. Yeah, whatever. There was no single profile of a person who engaged in a mass shooting, but the interviewed mass shooters shared the following traits: early childhood trauma and exposure to violence, an identifiable grievance or crisis point. Validation of beliefs, finding inspiration in past shootings by others. What? The means to carry out an attack. I think all of these are kind of like bullshit, except for the first one: childhood trauma and exposure to violence. Maybe an identifiable grievance or crisis point. What about medication? What about parents owning firearms? Both of those things, medication and parents owning firearms, are able to be literally checked and researched by the U.S. government, obviously, as well as criminal history, trouble with the law, trouble in school. Um, what else? I know I disprove simulation theory, but I proved that the light is not a simulation. So stay there, you fucking idiots. Listen to me. Other limitations. The database used open source data, leaving room for bias. The researchers noted because the source data were originally gathered for different purposes, media outlets have their own biases in terms of coverage of different mass shootings. Generally, the report noted certain categories of mass shootings tended to attract the most coverage. They include bias in favor of coverage of mass shootings related to K-12 schools, military bases, higher body counts, or younger victims. What the fuck? Assault rifles clustered with other shootings. The researchers cautioned readers to interpret mass shooting trends over time with caution in light of the fact that mass shootings are extreme and rare events. Well, yeah, because the kids have shit aim. And it takes four bodies for it to be a mass shooting. Which is a good thing. There's a lot of side subcategories: article listing, corrections, courts, crime prevention, crimes, drugs and crime, equipment and technology, forensic sciences, youth justice, justice system reform, law enforcement, tribal crime and justice. I'm interested in that one. NIJs, which is the National Institute of Justice. Tribal Crime and Justice Portfolio aims to 1. Provide an accurate reporting of crime and violence, and 2. 2. Not and. 2. Provide reliable, valid estimates of the scope of the problem, and 3. Identify barriers to and possible solutions for dealing with these significant public safety issues, like tribal crime and justice. Huh. Yeah, that's something else I might do an episode on. Missing person cases in Indian country, in terms of the Native Americans having like a, I don't know where I heard this years and years ago, but the missing persons in terms of Native Americans is much higher compared to every other race in this country, and I don't know why. Huh. Well, I just wanted to go over what the National Institute of Justice had to say, the government website. Of course, it's not a lie. There's nothing untrue on this. I'm being serious. Huh. Oh, they have podcasts. Justice Today podcast. I bet there's actually some. I bet these people actually know what the hell they're talking about. Redesigning life in the U.S. prisons. Oh, nice. Closing cases using gunshot residue. What's known and unknown about marijuana, Part 2. What's known and unknown about marijuana, Part 1. Cold cases and serial killers. A data-informed response to emerging drugs. Cold cases and serial killers, Part 1. Why am I, like, doing fucking promotional content? Because this is the kind of stuff you people should probably be listening to. Meeting people where they are to improve institutional culture. Progressing from evidence to action. Estimating age of death from subadult remains. What? Part 2. Estimating age of death from subadult remains, Part 1. Driving down gun violence, Part 2. Driving down gun violence, Part 1. Vaping. It's not what you think. I touch on that in the Kids Quit Menthol Darts episode, which just shows you that whoever's passing the laws here in this state really don't know what the fuck they're even. I don't even feel like they know what they're signing. They're like, wait, how much money? How much money? Oh, yeah. So, holy shit. How is that even possible? The Las Vegas shooting in Paradise. 60 deaths and 867 injured. Jesus, man. How is that even possible? "413 people were injured by gunfire and approximately 869 were injured." What did they, like, trip out the door or something? My God. Like, imagine, like, some people may find, some of my jokes distasteful. Yeah, imagine shooting up a school. Rand.org, this disgusting website and company and research organization. Rand. God, I hate these fucking people over at Rand. Now they have good articles though. That's the thing. I haven't read it. I haven't really done any of it. Like, this is the website that I clicked on that was recommended to me by War Mode, the podcast. Now, was it the actual War Mode, like original audio? I don't even know at this point. I'm pretty sure AI has been put down, shot in the back of the head. But they were talking about Rand on one of their episodes. And you know, this it's where I downloaded a bunch of psychological warfare articles and never really read any of them, never did any research because I thought that I was getting fucked with because of wanting to ins- read about the fucking psychological warfare articles and possibly back when I thought this was a coma dream. I figured, you know what? Let's do this to all the fucked up, really fucked up people in this world and get them out of here. Hit the road. And then I thought, oh man, am I getting fucked with because of this psychological warfare articles that I downloaded from this disgusting company, Rand? Rand is a research organization that develops solutions to public policy challenges to help make communities throughout the world safer and more secure, healthier, and more prosperous. Rand is a nonprofit, nonpartisan, and committed to the public interest. And committed to the public interest. Randy Marsh. I think Stan Marsh is his kid, which is a good Eminem song. Like Marshall Mathers. Randall, Minnesota. Hmm. You know? Which Randall, Minnesota, it's a nice little town, just about 15 minutes north of Little Falls. I talk about this on one of my previous episodes, and it shouldn't. My show is my show. My show should not be edited ever. I don't even edit my fucking show. Just a population of 607. in the 2020 census. Affected by a major flood in 1972. The Great Flood of 1972. What? Anyways, it's a nice town. It's real quiet, low key. I'm trying to see when this town became an official town. Let's see here. $1910. So it's been a town for 114 years. That's impressive. And the population has grown 412. From 1910, which was 195 population. Anyways, I gotta take a piss. I'm gonna take a piss. We're about done here.